ICE's stonewalling of a tuberculosis investigation at its immigration detention facility in Aurora could get more expensive next week. ICE won't let public health inspectors inside to determine whether TB is spreading among the detainees. Star Marshal Zellinger explains as of next Wednesday, Colorado's Attorney General could start popping them with $50,000 fines.
Normally, when there's a tuberculosis case at a business, local health investigators go to the business and figure out who may have been at risk of exposure. There was a TB case at the Aurora ICE facility, and local health investigators cannot get inside.
Even if there is no active infectious case of TB within the facility, we still need to be able to follow the people who are exposed because those people may not be at that facility now.
Adams County's chief medical officer laid out a timeline today showing Geo Group, the company that runs the Aurora ICE facility, reported a TB case in early June. In late June, she said Geo provided partial information about the person exposed and that Geo has not been responsive since.
When public health learns about a reported or suspected case of tuberculosis, investigation is not optional.
Staff with Democratic Congressman Jason Crow visited the ICE facility on July 15th, which resulted in this accountability report his office posts online. In it, his staff wrote that ICE's Office of Congressional Response said a detainee was put in isolation for TB on June 10th and has been deported, and that 61 people were exposed and put in quarantine.
We also want to know of those exposed who might have been tested and what the results of that testing is.
We need to do better for people, and this is not keeping anyone safe.
Next Wednesday, a bill sponsored by Democratic State Representative Elizabeth Velasco is supposed to go into law, though a federal judge is still considering a GEO request to put that law on pause. If the judge does nothing or does not rule by Wednesday, Colorado's Attorney General could issue a $50,000 fine each time GEO denies access to investigate a communicable disease like TB.
If the court hasn't ordered anything by Wednesday, do you want the Attorney General to issue a civil penalty to GEO?
Yes.
So I asked the Attorney General's office today if it would be issuing a fine on Wednesday, or if Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser felt that a fine is even called for. I got two no comments. The first reason because the law allowing a fine is in court awaiting that ruling. And the second reason I got is the AG's office won't comment on enforcement actions it may or may not take. I may have to go to the gubernatorial campaign side to ask this question of Phil Weiser to perhaps get an answer about the AG's office.
Oh my goodness, Marshall. I mean, so I guess that's a surprise. Have the health inspector said that the farther we get away from the active case, the harder it will be for them to track all of this down? I imagine it would be, right? Because people are coming and going from that detention facility?
Yeah, for that reason, and because if you were exposed and tested and even came out negative, you're supposed to be tested again 8 to 10 weeks later. And if they have no idea who was even exposed or previously tested, they could be anywhere. And this is the problem of how do you go backwards in time to contact trace who was there at the time?
All right, Marshall, thank you.